Hey dear friends, it's Greg Ferrer with the Catholic Worship Conference. Today's video post is on the key to selecting a key signature. So one of the things that I've believed in for a long time is that anytime we affect the key signature of a song, it really has an ability to take away energy. It has a way to take away feel from a particular song, whether we're lowering that song or raising that song. So how do we select key signatures for weekend ministry? I think one of the first things we need to consider that our job as liturgical ministers and liturgical worship leaders is to make sure that we are enabling the congregation to sing well. That's the job, that we are enabling the congregation to sing well. So I think as we start to take a look at a piece of music that we have coming up for an upcoming weekend, we need to first consider, was the song written for liturgy? Meaning, was it written with the idea of it being sung by large congregations of people? Typically what we'll find in a song that was written and kind of aimed at liturgy is it's going to be written in a vocal range that really supports a congregation wanting to lean in and sing it well. And what does that vocal range look like? It's not a hard and fast rule, but I typically see a congregational vocal range of being an A below the staff, up to the E at the top of the treble clef staff. So the A below treble clef staff, up to the E at the top end of the treble clef staff. That usually is a very good congregational range. And we don't want the song to kind of float towards the top of that treble clef staff. But if we ask them to sing an E flat or an E, a la I'm the Bread of Life by Suzanne Tulin reaches up for that E flat, I have found that congregations will reach for it if they know it. And as we introduce new music into the liturgy, we can ask them to reach maybe up to that E flat, that E. When we start getting beyond that to an F, F sharp, G, or above the staff, we're really asking a lot out of a Catholic congregation, especially when we got to consider things like, what time is our first morning Mass? Like 7 o'clock in the morning? People aren't going to want to reach that high. So what do we do as we're introducing newer music for the liturgy? Do we stick with the original key signature? Well, here's a couple of things we look at. Again, was it written for liturgy? If so, we may be able to do that. It's probably already voiced in such a manner that it's going to work well for our congregations. If the song was written for an arena-style worship event, something like a Passion Conference or a Steubenville Conference, it may be up into the stratosphere. It may be up above that staff. It may be in a key signature that doesn't really work well for a congregation to sing. So the second thing to consider, once we've determined that the congregation can sing it well, is can our worship team sing it well, or can our choir sing it well? Odds are, if it's voiced in such a manner like I described before, from that A below the staff, kind of that E towards the top of the staff, if we have a vocal team, a couple of people, we can probably cover that range and do it very well. What if our worship team maybe just has an alto leading for the day? We're not going to ask an alto to sing quite that high on the staff, so that's something we need to consider. Another consideration, third consideration to look at for whether or not it's the right key. If our congregation can sing it, and our worship team can sing it, or a choir can sing it, the third thing is, can our musicians play it, and play it well in the key that it's in? I'm going to use an example from a song that's been really popular. It was like the #1 worship song in 2018. The song was put out by Hillsong, and it's called Who You Say I Am. It's a fantastic song. You're probably familiar with it. That song was written and performed in the key of F sharp or G flat, however you want to look at it. It's the same key signature. That is 6 sharps or 6 flats. So here's what I'm finding. If you have solo instrumentalists that are part of your team, you're going to need to consider where their skill levels are. If you have a piano player that's playing on an acoustic piano, we need to consider, are they comfortable playing in the key of F sharp? Let me talk through this for just a second. If you're playing a keyboard and you have a transpose button, or if you're playing an acoustic guitar and you have a capo, you can put the capo on 4 and play D, and you're playing F sharp using D shapes. That's really great. If you're a keyboard player playing a keyboard and you can transpose the instrument, that's great. But if you're playing an acoustic piano and you're not accustomed to playing with 6 sharps, it's going to be a challenge. If you have a violinist that is a 5th or 6th year student, they very well may not be comfortable playing that level of material. So what do we do in that situation? Well, we have to make a musical judgment, and we have to make a pastoral judgment for our teams. So if we're looking at a song that's in the key of F sharp and we have musicians that aren't comfortable playing in that key, then we have to make some decisions on what we're going to do. We can lower the song a half a step and put it into the key of F with 1 flat. Very familiar key for everybody. not extremely challenging. It's a nice warm key. It'll work fantastically. Or we can raise the song a half a step and put it in the key of G with 1 sharp. Also very familiar for various levels of musicians, probably much easier to play. So which way are we going to shift it? Well, who's going to sing? Who is going to lead that song? Try it in both keys. Lower to F, run through it with your team, see how it sounds. Raise it up, the half step up to G from F sharp, and see how it sounds. Are the chords ringing? Are the vocalists able to find, a good amount of energy going into the song? I think that's the smart way to go about choosing a key, especially when we're looking at taking something challenging like F sharp and moving it. Move it the half step down, half step up. Take a listen. See what works best for the person that's leading the song. See how it sounds in the room and make that decision. I think that's a great way to go about doing that. So how do you choose keys for songs in your parish? Do you stick with the written key? Do you find something that works best for your vocalist? Do you find something that works best for your congregation and then fit your vocals into it? Let us know. Leave a comment in the section below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, God bless you.